KT2JLV, net control for the OMARC Thursday Night Net. This net is offered to the amateur radio community each Thursday at 8 p.m. by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in Ulster County, New York. My name is Dave. Join us each week to chime in on the night's topic or just to hang out. Be sure your radio is tuned to 146.805 megahertz with a negative shift of 600 kilohertz and a PL tone of 103.5 hertz. This net will break for any emergency or priority traffic.
KC2 UVP calling in.
Alright, Mike, you're recognized. Any other check-ins, please go ahead and call now.
KD2RBR.
W2NDG.
KD2QAK.
KD2MQE. Very well, the net recognizes KC2UVP. Good evening, Mike. KD2RBR, Rob. W2NDG, Neil. KD2QAK, Bob. And KD2MQE, David. Any further check-ins, please go ahead and call now.
KB5 Bravo Victor.
Alright, I've got KB5BV. Good evening, Moose. Any further check-ins, go ahead and call now.
KD2QQV.
KD2QQV is recognized. Anyone else, go ahead. Alright, very well. Nothing further heard. We will give another opportunity for check-ins in a few minutes. Well, tonight I was given recent developments. I'm going to talk a little bit, or have a starter topic of radio direction finding and fox hunting. This is a useful skill for hams. We can get together and direction find stations. It's good for a lot of other things as well, including search and rescue. All in all, it's a very good skill to at least get exposed to and possibly get good at. With that, I'm going to say let's go ahead and start off with KC2UVP. Go ahead, Mike. This is K2JLV Net Control. You're first.
Well, thank you, KC2JLV. I'm totally enamored by the awareness of just the topic of fox hunting, and I want to build my knowledge base on poor etiquette and poor signal generation, and I don't know who I'm supposed to hand this off to, but I'm reading every day. I'm just trying to get back into the rig to be part of the rig and part of the fabric that is the radio. Back to the net. Thank you, Don.
Alrighty, Mike. Very good. Well, fox hunting is a fun radio sport, we'll call it. So definitely fun to play around with, although there is a little bit of specialized equipment for it. But we'll go ahead and move along here and see where the conversation goes. Next up is KD2RBR. Go ahead, Rob. K2JLV Net Control.
Thanks, Dave. It's Nick. I have nothing to add. I'm just listening to the conversation to learn something. 'em. 'Cause, you know, I, I'm totally enamored by the awareness of just the topic of fox hunting, and I want to
right, Nick. Yeah, I got so many call signs going right now, it's hard to keep track of everybody. Rob is RWS. Okay, and it's not even a KD2. All right, Nick. As the conversation goes along and you want to ask a question about something, please feel free to throw your call sign in between. Next on the list, W2NDG. Go ahead, Neil. One of my favorite topics. Sorry, I'll be a little long-winded to start with, but I have to tell you where this comes from. When I first got my ham license, I met some hams down in Long Island where Jill and I were living, and there were some of the ones I started to get friendly with right away had a little transmitter hunting group that they called LITHARC, or Long Island Transmitter Hunters Amateur Radio Club, although it wasn't really a full-fledged club. And the first couple of times out, I rode along with somebody else until I understood how the rules worked and everything. And at the time, Jill and I were, the pleasant way of saying it is frugal. Just because of our own situations, after collecting X's, sometimes you don't have a whole lot of money to buy fancy radios. Since come a long way from then. But I went out hunting with my wife, and the two of us developed a method of looking for transmitters with a radio that my brother bought at the yard sale for $10 and a very simple antenna. And we were competing with guys who had spent anywhere from $500 to $5,000 on very sophisticated direction finding equipment. And we always found the transmitter, and sometimes found it before any of them did. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of technique. And let me drop for a minute. For a second. You'll learn that techniques are different depending on the kind of hunt. VHF hunts are completely different than HF hunts. And in HF, 10-meter hunts are different than 75-meter hunts. Just different techniques to use all across the board. But you learn a lot about your own equipment, and you learn a lot about your knowledge of an area. And one of the first things I learned with all the arguments that people have going back and forth about Chinese handhelds is that the last radio you want to be walking around the woods with a Yagi antenna and doing direction finding is a bow thing. So, but after coming up here, the QSY Society and Mount Beacon had a hunt a few months ago, and Jill and I came in second place behind a BMW filled with West Point cadets and their professor. So it is a lot of fun, and it can also be very useful, which I'm sure Dave may get into. And I would love to be a resource if anybody has any questions about it, but I'm sure there's other people on here who do it too. So W2NDG, back to net.
Question, can I get a hold of you? KC2 UVP, quiet.
Mike, I'm not sure what your question was there. Try again.
I was trying to make a connection to the hunter, and I'm truly hunting everything that is about my life.
All right, Mike, very good. Well, when we come back around to Neil, we'll see if we can see if he wants to give out his information there. Next on the list, KD2QAK. Go ahead, Bob, from K2JLD.
KD2QAK. Yeah, this has fascinated me for a little while, and I think you should be able to build your own antenna by such as a 3-element Yagi or something like that. I'm looking on my computer right now of a guy, WB2HOL, that built a 3-element beam fox hunting antenna, and he used tape measure for the elements because it folded up nice and he could stick it in his car. I'm wondering what experience you guys have had on building your own antennas. Back to you, Dave, KD2 QAK.
This is K2JLV Net Control. Let's go ahead and see if anybody has a comment on building antennas for them. I know there are commercially available ones you can purchase. I have actually built a couple of Yagis myself, just as a personal comment. I did mine actually for 433 megahertz as I was trying to get a little extra range out of a temperature sensor, which failed miserably. But let's see if anybody else has had some experience in building their own Yagis.
KB5BV.
Go ahead, Mose.
Okay, yeah, it just so happens that a couple of the clubs I was in Arkansas did a little fox hunting, and I have used a tape measure, 3-element Yagi, pretty neat little antenna, some PVC and tape measure, and it's trying to think, it's a hairpin match is what it is, and it works pretty good when you can use it as a Yagi when you get close in, and it's too much gain. You turn it around, reverse it, and use the null, and you can zero right in on the fox, so it's pretty cool. So, a lot of fun. This is KB5BV.
Alright, very good, Mose. Any further comments on self-building antennas before we move on the list? Alright, very good. Well, I will say the local plumbing store does come in real handy when building smaller antennas like this. Although, of course, you get into HF, then you need bigger antennas. Anyway, let's move along on the list. KD2MQE, Dave, you're next. David, from K2JLV Net Control.
KD2MQE, thanks. I'm totally up to this. This sounds great. I don't have any experience, and I didn't realize it was all in the antenna. I studying for the exam, you learn a little bit about it. It's a circuit, so really simple. I remember the circuit part was really interesting, but I don't remember them talking about actually doing it, and it sounds like the antenna doing the thing. So totally up to it. Sounds like a great idea. That's it. Thanks.
Yeah, very good. Well, the directional antenna is an integral part of it, but depending on what you're doing with fox hunting, just reading the signal strength on your meter can make a big difference. So it's it gets you on the paper, so to speak, and to use a different discipline's jargon. Let's go ahead and move down to KD2QQV. Go ahead, Don, from K2JLV Net Control.
Yeah, direction finding. Yeah, they still use it as an invaluable tool to the military to locate enemy transmitters. And a good antenna for that would probably be a Yagi antenna is good, and it's very good actually. And then you got the loop aerial, which is another one, and then there's more sophisticated type of techniques, the triangular technique there, where you have two direction finding antennas homing in on the signal. But that's about all I'm going to say right now. KE2QQB, back to net.
He was
tastes like orange, and they changed it.
It sounds like we've got a station with an open mic out there. Sounds like Mike. Can I be heard over top of that or no?
K2QIK, I hear you, Dave.
That's why I brought
KCQUB hears you, Dave.
Oh, okay. Very good. We definitely had an open mic out there. Alright, let's go ahead and ask for additional calls at this time. This is K2JLV Net Control for the OMARC Thursday Night Net. Any further check-ins, please go ahead and call now.
K2BHM.
KD2OYD.
Alright, I've got 3 so far. K2BHM, good evening, Jim. KD2IIN, we've got CJ. And KD2RYD, good evening, Kate. Any further check-ins, please go ahead and call now.
W2RWS.
Whiskey Alpha number 2, Bravo Sierra Sierra.
Alright, very well. We've got W2RWS, and that's Rob, and WA2BSS, and good evening to you, Stu. Any further check-ins, please go ahead and call now.
Kilo November 4, Delta Mike November, KN4, DMN Frank. Possible.
Frank, give me your full call sign again. I'm sorry, you went a little too fast for me, and my writing is very slow tonight for some reason. KN4 something.
My apologies. Kilo November 4, Delta Mike November, Kilo November 4, Delta Mike November. I'm here in Kingston. Name is Frank.
Alright, very good. We've got you in there, Frank. Any further check-ins, go ahead and call now. Alright, very good. Nothing further heard. Alright, tonight, for the new people on the net, although I'm sure you have already heard, we're talking about fox hunting and radio direction finding. Let's go ahead and start with the new group. K2BHM, Jim, you're next up from K2JLV Net Control.
Thanks, Dave. K2BHM, Jim here. Hello, everybody. I do have previous radio direction finding experience, but I cheated. When I worked for Waterloo Arsenal, the military had a flying club, and I used to service their radios for the aircraft. And to test them out, I would stick antenna up on top of the car and take the VOR Omni and drive around Albany Airport, and it would point out that beacon right dead on every single time. It was amazing, and that was back, 40 years ago.
Very cool stuff. What did you say the antenna was again? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch it.
It was a special antenna for aviation to match the radio. It was a dipole, but they were folded back at a 45.
Very good, Jim. Okay, cool. Sounds like a lot of fun. This is K2JLV Net Control. Next on the list, KD2IIN. Go ahead, CJ.
KD2IIN. Glad to hear this discussion about fox hunting. It was an interesting discussion and has intrigued me for a long time. Something I've always wanted to play with, but never had the money or time to actually go do. But my understanding is there are 2 basic techniques, but I do want to ask Jim about how the avionics version of that works. But my understanding is there's 2 techniques. One is triangulation, where you use multiple different points receiving, and you can figure out where a station is. And the other one uses phasing, where you use an antenna, well, a pair of antennas
antennas and you switch between them and you can sense direction. So, I don't know, I'll just throw my 2 cents in here, a little bit of knowledge that I have. It's not expensive by any means, but just wanted to jump in, support the net, and throw down a little info. K2IIS back to net. K2GOG lead check. Okay, I've got you there, K2GOG. Thank you for your comment there, CJ. Yeah, I believe Doppler shift is what we're talking about with multiple antennas and a timing circuit of some sort. I don't know everything about it, but I have seen it before. Let's go ahead and move along to KD2RYD. Go ahead, Kate from K2JLD.
Hi, yeah, this is KD2RYD. Yeah, it's obviously something I've heard of as well, and it's intriguing, and it sounds like the sort of thing that a bunch of people who might be, for some reason, all stranded at home in various parts of the area, and then realise that there's a fox running around, and people have more time on their hands than usual, and maybe want to track that fox. So it sounds interesting. That's all I have to say for now, though. Back to net.
Kate, you saw right through me. Anywho, yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's a fun sport, and it does have other purposes, so there it is. Alright, thanks for your comment. Next on the list, W2RWS. Go ahead, Rob.
Count me in on this subject. I made a rabbit out of a waterproof box and an antenna and a Radio Shack handheld with some batteries and a little device that broadcasts, I guess it was Morse code. You can set it to broadcast every 10 seconds, every whatever. Can't wait to use it. So count me in. I made a loop antenna with a little capacitor, but I didn't seem to have much success with it. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I do have that paperback book on radio direction finding. I found it used because it's out of print on eBay, and it sounds like a lot of fun. So definitely count me in on this one.
Very cool. Well, it sounds like there's some good interest on this, and perhaps we should work out another forum for discussing this as we go along, because I don't know how in-depth we're going to be able to get to on the on the net tonight, but we're definitely going to try. Next on the list, WA2BSS. Go ahead, Stu from K2JLD.
All right.
I'll let that other station go first.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the privilege. And I am totally into RF. I'm totally into IF. I'm totally into. I'm so into this. And thank you. Back to the net. I really want to learn more about everything, so that I can't get attacked by anything except my enemy. I'll give it back to the. Thank you very much for the break.
All right, very good. Okay, Mike, go ahead, Stu. WA2BSS from K2JLD.
Very good. I know the handle, but I can't think of it. K2JLB. WA2BSS. Good evening. Well, I've got an interesting experience. I had a wonderful experience yesterday. The local NPR station, WAMC, which they've got a transmitter up in Kingston, as well as one over on the also on the outside river over in Highland, and one of the programs they have every weekday afternoon is called Box Pop. And yesterday's main topic was Science Forum, and
and instead of the regular questions that the people who phone in questions, this one was on ideas for the parents of children who want to amaze their kids. And I had called in and got past the call screener and such, very simple, and waited patiently while I was for the others to think. And I found out, Mr. Straussigan, that I know that the host, Ray Graff, who is an amateur radio operator, besides myself, the other, these two scientists were not in the studio with Ray. They were in their own places, QTH and such, so it was quite interesting. And when Ray put me on, I had given my one of the people, Roger, I think it's called, his name is, and he, I told him who I was, and I gave them my call. And Roger explained quite accurately that there are those of us in this hobby who are licensed by the FCC, and there are separate classes of licenses. And I gave near the end of my segment, I gave the homepage for the ARRL. So I hope we can get more people, more young people in the hobby. So I thought I'd get in and give a plug for amateur radio on the Science Forum yesterday on WAMC. And if you want more information, you go to the homepage, which is Whiskey Alpha Mike Charlie, WAMC .org, and you can search around and look for Fox Pop for yesterday. That was April 1st. So that was a nice experience for me. And I also found out that there is an inexpensive shortwave radio, sort of like the ones from the old days, like the Grundig and such, that contains all of the HF frequencies, I think from 3 to 30 megahertz. And this little portable, inexpensive radio, and Amazon sells it, I think, for between $25 and $30. And so hopefully we can get more people into the hobby. Thanks again. WHBSS, back to net.
This is K2JLV Net Control for the OMARC Thursday Night Net. This is Dave on this side, Stu. It sounds like you've been busy. Very cool. Appreciate you going out there and giving that plug on the public radio. Let's move along to KN4DMN. Go ahead, Frank, from K2JLV Net Control.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to be listening in. I don't really have much to say on the subject because I just haven't experimented with it at all. My father used to say, not knowing, I hesitate to say. So I'm going to monitor it. Again, it's a pleasure being part of the net. Thank you.
Very good, Frank. Thank you for being here, and absolutely, hopefully, we'll be able to add a little knowledge there. We'll see how it goes. If you have any actual questions or specific questions, that is, just go ahead and throw your call sign in between conversations. I'll try to leave enough space. K2GOG, you're next. Steve, thanks for being here. K2JLD Net Control.
Well, good evening, everybody. Steve, K2GOG here. The topic of du jour is radio direction finding and related tangential topics. Could probably share quite a bit of information on that, but hopefully I won't go too deep. But related to it,
Lately, I've been working on a project through HVDN called Has Violet, and this involves 900 megahertz along with a low signal-to-noise ratio mode called LoRa. And as part of the project, we developed an antenna that has very good characteristics for radio direction finding, and I could talk about that if you'd like. The reason why we chose to do this on 900 megahertz was to provide more of a convergence between people that are not licensed and those that are licensed, because 900 is actually kind of shared spectrum, so that's why we decided to do it there. And antennas are nice and small, and so all the same math and theory applies if you go downwards in frequency. So nice little project. It's at hvdn.org/violet if anyone wants to take a look, but I think there's probably too much on there to really talk about now. But I could share some details on RDF and traditional ham radio related stuff. If you want to ask some questions, I kind of tuned in late, so I kind of missed the beginning of that, Dave. Back to you. All right, very good, Steve. Yeah, we also have Neil here on the net who imparted some good information as well. You two are more expert than I am by a long shot, so if you want to just maybe lay down a little bit of high-level stuff real quick. Neil did some, and we may get a little bit of doubling of information, but I'll let you go ahead for a little bit longer, and then maybe we'll get some questions from people as we go through the list the next time. Go ahead from K2JLD Net Control. All right, well, Neil and I have similar experiences, and they all kind of grew out of the same geographic region, and we've both done different things since then. But back in the Long Island days, there was an organization called the LIFARC, which I forget what the acronym stands for, but it had to do with radio direction finding, and we have some good fun finding a transmitter box, and then going and finding it, and hopefully not attracting attention of the police. And there were some stories to share, but probably not best for the air. Predominantly 2 meters. Some people had Doppler units on their vehicles of their roof that used 4 antennas to triangulate signals. Other people used the beam. Other people used other things, but there's all sorts of ways you can find signals. 2 meters is different than UHF, which is different than 1.2 gigahertz. But 2 meters is pretty much like the de facto most people who do RDF in terms of ham stick there, although there's a bit of activity of people that do that on 80 meters. It's a totally different concept and different types of antennas. You're using like magnetic loop antennas that are handheld, and a little bit of a different world, but it's fun stuff. I have a couple Fox boxes that have a microcontroller that keys a transmitter up and it sends a sequence of tones, and you can do all sorts of fun stuff with it. It's a lot of fun. I was hoping to do a project with Medical Reserve Corps come this spring, but we started to plan that before COVID hit, and so that's probably going to get pushed back. But yeah, I think we'll get some more activity up here around RDF. So let me pause there and throw it back over to you if you have some specific questions, Steve.
KG2UVP, thanks for the tutorial. You're just waking me up. You don't want to wake this guy up. KG2, back to the net.
All right, very good, Steve. Thank you very much. And Mike, got you in there. All right, cool. Let's go ahead with that for a little bit, and then we'll just roll around and see if we get any further questions that will further the conversation a little bit. As a side note, Steve, definitely let us know when you're thinking about doing the MRC stuff. There may be some interested parties on the side of OMARC that might want to get on in that. So maybe a little synergistic situation there if possible. Certainly welcome the the active ham population in the area to be part of it. As I think we all know, the situation's kind of fluid. We were originally targeting the second to last weekend in May, but I don't think that is going to be possible now. And if it is, we probably get too big of a turnout. People will be itching to get outside, but probably push it out maybe to July. I don't know. But we were actually going to do this on UHF on 70 centimeters because people that have little family radios could also kind of get in on the action, although it will be hard to find find a hidden transmitter with an FRS radio, but just kind of shows that you can do some stuff in different bands with different things, but I'll share more details. But yeah, for right now, this project that we were actually going to unveil this at WOPR Summit, which took place, or should have taken place this past weekend. Of course, it got canceled, but we have an RDF component with the Has Violet project. That's pretty cool. I think some people at 3 or 4 OMARC meetings ago, I had one of the beta test antennas, like a little egg beater. That's what we're using, but we've evolved design ever since. Very cool, very cool. Sounds like you got a lot of stuff in the works. All right, we'll hear more about it as we roll through the list. I don't want to leave people out if they want to ask questions. So let's go ahead and roll up to the top of the list. I guess, Mike, you did make some comments, but go ahead with any further comment you have. KC2 UVP from K2JLV Net Control.
Well, I'm listening to everybody out here, and I'm trying to work with everybody out here. I'm an individual, and I stand alone with everybody. I stand alone with everybody. Don't take my space. And the egg beater, and I'm just getting back into the radio world. And if anybody needs me, this is KC2 UVP Mike Tivoli, and I'm just trying to get connected here. I don't want to be disconnected. I've got 6 brothers. You can't get disconnected that easy.
All right, very good, Mike. Cool enough. And thank you again for the offer of help. Let's move along here. Let's get to people and see if they have any questions or if they have any comments. KD2 RBR. Go ahead, Nick, from K2JLV Net Control. KD2 RBR, do you still copy? Boxes and cookies, Dave. It definitely could be. Okay, moving along. W2NDG, go ahead, Neil, K2JLV. I guess you guys probably may have crossed paths before K2GOG and yourself. From K2JLV, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. It's neat having Steve legitimize some of what I said, right? We talked about some of the same things. CJ's comment that there's definitely more than 2 ways, but there's the different types of Dopplers. If you're thinking about that, the classic Doppler uses pin diode switching to rotate through an array of 4, 6, or 8 antennas. Usually, I know you can do it with more. And the theory is that you're switching through the antennas rapidly, and a microprocessor is comparing the time factor, and you get a direction out of that. There is a new way of doing it using 4 independent SDR receivers, which is called Kerberos SDR, that I've seen people do. The theory of operation is great. My only issue with it is the initial software, and this may have changed since I first looked at it, was basically heat map software, which works great if you have a lot of time. It doesn't give you the results as quick as some of the other software or just reading your Doppler. offhand. Triangulation, also if you have the time to go to 3 distinct points where you have a clear shot, take a bearing with a directional antenna, draw that bearing on a map, and of course where the 3 lines meet is theoretically where your transmitter would be. Let me drop for a second. What Jill and I started out doing, because I didn't even have a Yagi when I started, is we would look on a map before the hunts of the area and try to find a building that was out in the open that had some height to it and a relatively small footprint, which on Long Island is pretty easy to find. And then as soon as the transmitter started, we would drive around the building slowly while the transmitter was running to get our initial bearing. So we would mark the point in that circle where we got the strongest signal and the weakest signal, draw a line through it on the map, and that would give us our initial bearing. Once I got the Yagi, which I have a tape measure Yagi, nothing fancy, then we would just go to a high spot with a clear view of the area and get our initial bearing that way. That's really what got us to the transmitter at the hunt we did up here. From that point on, it's all about signal strength. You drive towards the signal. Mark on the map where it's strongest, where it starts getting weak again. Just mentally mark it, draw lines, whatever you need to do, and it works well. And yeah, there are plenty of great war stories, which maybe when we get running again, this would make a great meeting presentation. A couple guys from the island that do it at Ham Radio University every year. They do a whole presentation on hunting with equipment, and then they ask me to talk usually for 5 or 10 minutes about hunting without fancy equipment. But there's definitely so much more. You could go on forever about this. I like Steve's technical way of looking at this, and we definitely want to see more of that too. But let's get into some discussions on this in the future, and let's have some hunts. And I also have a Fox Hunt Buddy Box transmitter, whatever you would call it, homebrew, with a Baofeng UB3R radio and an Arduino board. Works well. W2NDG, back to you, Steve. Dave.
All right, very good, Neil. Well, definitely, there seems to be a good interest in it in our little group here, at least. So definitely should maybe think about starting to put something together on more of a official scale. Maybe we can get involved with some other clubs and put something together on the whole Hudson Valley. That would be kind of fun. Let's go ahead and move along. KD2QAK, go ahead, Bob, from K2JLV Net Control.
This is KD2QAK. I definitely like the triangulation method, personally myself, because I've had a lot of experience at doing it. And I'm not sure I want to experiment with, once I get my directional Yagi built, with my HT and see how signal strength tracking would work in a direct line. As more of my signal gets stronger, obviously I'm getting closer. But I will say this, I think I mentioned this to you the other day, Dave. We used to be on search and rescue missions to find a lost person, and we would go from rescue mode to recovery mode, which means we are looking for a body. And we'd have several crews out doing the search, and incidentally, if we saw some buzzards circling, we would over the radio say we got a UFO at so many degrees from, and then we'd give our position and UTM coordinates to the other guys, and between us we'd figure out where that was, and we were very successful at finding a lot of deer carcasses that way. I think that's my preferred way of doing it, is try to triangulate, but I'll be proven wrong when I start trying it. Back to you, Dave. KD2QAK.
Very good, Don. Yeah, absolutely. My initial, I have not done it yet myself, my initial thoughts are to do it via triangulation, as I see it as being sort of the easiest way, although it'd probably be, to do it quickly, need a number of teams in different locations to make it happen, which would be convenient, as we have people all over the Hudson right now. K2MQE, go ahead, David, from K2JLV Net Control.
K2MQE, thanks. I don't have anything useful to add. I would only say that I like the triangulation method because it's easier to stay 6 feet apart from each other if we do that. So that wasn't super helpful, but that's all I have. So thank you. Back to Ned.
Well, we do have to work within the situation we have right now. Good point, David. Next on the list, KB5BV. Go ahead, Mose, from K2JLV Net Control.
Okay, Dave, or whatever your name is tonight. Sounds like you've picked the right topic. Everybody's interested and excited about it, and it is fun. I could see where maybe we could have, after all the virus stuff blows over, we could have a picnic and incorporate a hunt and look for the fox and just have a lot of fun. So put that on the think about list. So enjoy the net tonight. Everybody stay safe and have a good weekend. This is KB5BV.
Alright, very good, Mose. I will definitely do so. Next on the list, KD2QQV. Go ahead, Don, from K2JLV Net Control.
Yes. Are we on some kind of a hunt?
Not currently, but we could be at some point.
You want to explain the hunt?
Okay. Well, traditionally, a fox hunt is, in at least the practice sense, you hide a transmitter somewhere geographically and send teams out to go find it. And the first one that finds it wins.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to see who the winner is.
Yes, indeed. Well, we'll see if we get one. A winner, that is. Next on the list, we're going to go ahead and move along. K2BHM. Go ahead, Jim, from K2JLV Net Control.
Okay, Dave. K2JLV, K2BHM. CJ, you hit the nail on the head. VOR Omni for aircraft purposes. They would take a transmitter and send it out to two antennas with a particular phase shift between the two, and your receiver would be receiving both. It would be receiving both signals with a discriminator, phase shift discriminator that would feed a meter that would indicate how many degrees you were off the proposed path and put you on your straight and narrow. So I don't know what technology has done since then, but GPS has kind of just blown it out of the water.
Very interesting. Phase discriminator. I've heard that term before. I've never actually spent any time thinking about it, but that's pretty cool. Neat. Very good, Jim. And that's probably old school by today's standards, but it probably works really well. Let's move along to KD2IIN. Go ahead, CJ, from K2JLV Net Control.
Comment.
All right, hold the comment. We're going to let CJ go.
Alrighty, KD2IIN. Interesting, Jim. I know there was a kit you could buy years back when I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16. One of the, it was QST or which, hand magazine it was, but there was a kit you could buy that had a phase discriminator set up so you could hook it to your HT and use it for fox hunting. And the other thing was Ramsey had a kit that was like Neil was talking about with the diode switching. I think it was an 8-antenna array system. And I understand, like KD2C, and I talked about this
CJ, very good. Mike, was that you again with a comment? KC2UVP, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as electronics is concerned, I walked by a box. It was called the RWA, Reaction Wheel Assembly. It was not locked down. It was not enclosed. It was $1 million item, and it tells you what it does is it triangulates in space and time, not just space, but space and time where you are, and every one of the objects that go up into space has one of these things on it. And I walk by it every day, cleaning up after emptying waste paper baskets. Back to net.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mike. Let's keep moving. KD2RYD. I know the list is pretty long tonight, folks. I'm sorry it's going to take a while to get around to you, but we'll do the best we can. Go ahead, Kate, from K2JLD Net Control.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, this is KD2RYD. It's really interesting to hear all of these different techniques, all the things we could do, and how we could set up a time to do this, and try and track something down. I think also what would be really interesting, and I think is what also some people are alluding to, is we have a situation where it's not a rabbit that's been, also a fox that's been set and it's transmitting. It's something that's on sometimes, not on sometimes. We don't know when it's going to be on. We don't know when it's not going to be on, how long it's going to be on for, and how we take advantage of everything that we have, which is a whole bunch of people in fixed locations who can't leave homes, who have the radios and can communicate with each other via this net, but also via other means. So it would be really interesting to know how could we use what we have, or use something simple that we could all create. The fact that sometimes on and sometimes not, and when we hear the fox, we have a plan of action of how we use either something we've created or something that or everyone already has to and track the fox down that way using what we all have. It could be a really interesting exercise. It's different than specifically laying a fox there and all going out and doing it on a certain day. Those are my thoughts. I love doing things with what we already have to hand, kind of MacGyver style. So back to net.
Suggestion?
Alright, go ahead with the suggestion.
Here is the offending signal. We should have a club email where we can go and say that Hertz here, and eventually over the time we can accumulate a list of where it was, where it wasn't, and pin it down.
Comment, KC2UVP. I have no phone. How can anybody get a hold of me, and how can I help?
Alright, hold on. I think I doubled with a secondary comment there. I think at this point, this is given an early stage here, it would probably be the best way to get in touch with at least somebody who could coordinate it would be to send an email through the OMARC website just to get things started. And then we could delegate out from there. But to Kate's point, for starters, in the situation we're talking about, the best thing to do, especially if it's something that is going through, say, a repeater, would be to listen on the input frequencies. So change your radio over to 146.205 in the case of the 805, and see if you can hear it. And then as we crowdsource that, we might be able to narrow down where the fox is. So there's a good way to get us on, roughly on paper is what I'm going to go with. And I think there was a comment, so secondary comment, go ahead.
W2RWS with a comment.
Okay, go ahead, W2RWS.
You guys just gave me a great idea. Let's just say we have a problem, and we go to the 146.205, and we have our directional antennas in the backyard. Net control knows where we're located. We can actually text or email our compass heading of what we think the direction is. And all you got to do is draw a bunch of lines on the map, and I think you pinpointed the person. This would be an awesome exercise, A, for everybody to build an antenna, and B, to track that down.
W2NDG comment.
K2GOG comment. Oh God, I'm going to get befuddled here. Okay, let's go ahead with W2NDG first, and then we'll go to K2GOG. Go ahead, W2NDG.
We might be reporting on the same thing, but the club that Steve and I were both members of down on the island had a very simple web-based database entry app where you would put in, when you heard a signal, where you heard it, and some other parameters. And it collected all the data. Very handy.
Very good. Almost sounds like something like an IRC might be usable on that. Although I know Steve's not a fan of IRC because it's too outdated. Go ahead, Steve. K2GOG from K2JLD.
It's alright. I can take the punches. I'm only trying to forward the hobby versus stay stuck on the path. It's okay. I get it. Anyway, no, actually, I wasn't going to say what Neil said, but he kind of underplayed it, and they developed something pretty cool, where basically they took software-defined radio dongles and fed the signal values from their known locations where these were set up time on a map. Just receive the signal, and it would be very, very easy to kind of get a good heat map and approximate location of where the interfering signal was. Or you could use it for positive reasons. If somebody was weak, say if they're driving around in their car and you're telling them they're weak, you could also use it to help people figure out their antennas. But let me share my comment. Let me just let it drop. Alright, so my comments, and these are all super, super great ideas, especially sharing bearings of directional antennas and coordinating over email. But my comment is when there's a situation where there's some type of, let's call it interference, aside from listening on the input and all that great stuff, it's also best to not always attract attention to it and how you're doing it, because sometimes those interfering factors then try to make it into a game. And so sometimes it's best to try to take as much of that conversation offline as possible to coordinate. And I can tell you with my experience as well as Neil, when you get good at this, you can find stations really, really quickly. And we often don't attract awareness of what we're doing. So just keep that in mind. If there's a situation, try to keep it off in the air. KD2I comment.
Very good points there, Steve. Absolutely. Certainly should come up with some sort of a secondary network for communication on this type of situation. Go ahead, CJ, K2JLD.
I said it before, I'll say it again. Don't feed the trolls. That goes for comments on the internet, that goes to the radio, that goes for anything. Don't give them attention. Just to Steve's point, I'm with him. K2I and back there.
Very good, agreed. And at this point, I've completely lost where we were in the rotation here. I think it was Kate. Kate was the last one there, right? W2RWS, I think you already made a comment, but feel free to take your turn, and then we'll move along on the list and try to bring this back to some semblance of order. W2RWS from K2JLV, go ahead.
No, that was my comment. Thank you. Arrow. I'm sorry, couldn't think of the word. An arrow antenna for satellite use, and that might give me a great direction finding for the 2-meter band. Anyway, yep, that's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you for the comment, and yeah, I know I've seen arrows before. They're amazing antennas. A little bit large, but they're beautiful. Let's go ahead to WA2BSS. We'll see if Stu is still around. Go ahead, Stu, if you're still there. K2JLD Net Control.
Who are jammers or something like that. This was the situation when I accidentally put down my the lock switch on my transmitter. A couple of guys found I immediately was wondering what was going on. So that was that experience for me. But I'm wishing to secure my Dave, and we'll catch up one maybe next week. Thanks again, Dave, and everyone be safe. And by the way, also, Mount Beacon has a health and wellness net twice a day, one at 30 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. Every day of the week until the end of the COVID-19 virus scare. Thanks again. Back to Ned. Over.
All right, Stu, thanks for being here, and thank you for the information. I'm glad Mount Beacon is also doing a wellness net. It sounds like we're all coming together on this situation. All right, KN4DMN. Go ahead, Frank, from K2JLV Net Control. Any questions, comments, thoughts? We've been throwing a lot of information out here, so go ahead.
Thanks, Ross there. I'm enjoying the conversation, and I'm just going to continue to monitor, and I may have to go clear here in about 5-10 minutes, but I won't interrupt the conversation.
Alrighty, Frank, very good. I'll mark you down as clear of the net, because I highly doubt we'll get back to you within 5 minutes. So if you're not clear, you can go ahead and just throw your call sign at me, and I'll let you comment. And with that, last on the list, K2GOG. Steve, do you want to make another comment before I ask for additional check-ins, or do you want to just go ahead and skip over for the interim here?
I'll throw out one last little bit of interesting info for you all to ponder on before we close it out. A really good trick that I like to use is what's called third harmonic monitoring. So if, let's say, for example, if you're on a frequency of 146.205, there's some math that you can do that puts you up into the UHF ham band in 70 centimeters. And if you listen on that's a really effective way to find signals, and it also works on the UHF antenna while trying to find a 2-meter frequency to still have the benefit of the directional characteristics of the antenna, but with reduced signal strength. And this becomes really, really important when you get close to a hidden transmitter and you're trying to find it, and if the signal's too strong, you can't really find it if your S meter is pinned all the way to the right-hand side. So third harmonic monitoring is one of my favorite tricks to find things. Anyway, with that, everyone have a good night. Let's go back over to you, Dave, and close this great, informative net out. K2GOG back to you.
I have a real quick and humorous comment on that. W2NDG.
All right, go ahead, Neil. Yeah, I think we have a little wind issues up there on the mountain. Steve, you were dropping out a bit, but we got the gist. Go ahead, Neil. K2JLV.
Yeah, so third harmonic is a technique I use frequently. And this Dutchess County hunt that Jill and I went on, it wasn't working for me. In Shido's, it's a method that, when we get to a point where my RF gain is all the way at its minimum, and the meter's all the way up there, I'll switch over to the third harmonic. I put a radio in the window, tuned on that third harmonic all the time in the car when we're doing this. When we got to the hidden transmitter at that hunt, there were these big metal tubes, cans, in the back of the guy's truck, and I asked what they were, and he said, "That's to filter out the third harmonic." Not fair.
Very good. He was ahead of you on that one. Interesting. Cool enough. All right, let's go ahead and give one last chance for check-ins, and then we'll go through, I guess, and see if anybody has any further comments or questions. And then we'll close out the net as we are, we're over an hour here. Any further check-ins on this net? This is K2JLV Net Control. Please go ahead and call now.
Well, KC2 UVP 73's. God, I love you. I love you people. We haven't had that fight yet, but you'll find out. I shook the hand of Rocky Marciano, and I'm just saying 73. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, radio. And, Louis Armstrong loved his radio, too.
Okay, Mike, we'll mark you down as out. Any further check-ins, please go ahead and call now.
KD2MBF.
Well, that was the most spectacular double I've ever heard. We got you in there, Greg. The other station calling, go ahead.
KD2SQO, Brian.
All right, I've got you in there, KD2SQO. Any further check-ins, go ahead and call now.
KC2JQA.
Alright, I've got you down, Steve, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to have a little quick conversation with you before or after the net here. Just have a quick question for you regarding the payment you sent in for your application to the club. Any further check-ins one more time, and then we'll go ahead and hit this list quick and see if anybody else has further comments. All right, nothing further heard. We'll go ahead and give the last three to check in here a chance on this topic before we go through the whole list. We were talking about radio direction finding and fox hunting. Go ahead, KD2MBF, you're up first, Greg, from K2JLV Net Control.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm late to the game, but I was listening in for the last 15 or so, 20 minutes. Not much to add, but I'd love to be involved with it, especially if it's sooner than later, because I have a ton of time on my hands. I'm not working at all, and it would be pretty cool to be involved with this. I have an antenna that I can probably use for direction finding. It needs a little bit of tuning and soldering, but I do have something ready to go, so keep me included, please. And that's it. Hope everybody's doing well. KD2MBF, back to net.
All right, very good, Greg. Well, like I said to everybody earlier, just keep an eye, and we'll get the first step here with listening in on the 205 side of the repeater here, and if we can get reports from there, we'll get started. KD2SQL, go ahead, Brian, on this topic. K2JLV net control.
Yeah, okay, it's definitely a lot of good pointers. I can do my part with the 205s, and I do have officially confirmed my address updated with the MCC. ARRL, it will be by June.
Okay, very good. I'm assuming that's the one that came through with the email?
Yes, sir, I did place a email in your inbox, I guess. But, thanks.
Alright, very good. And last on the list, KC2JQA. Go ahead, Steve.
KC2JQA. Just stepped in after taking care of some things a couple of minutes ago, and interesting topic. I would love to participate in some activities at some point in the future. KC2JQA, back to net.
Alright, very good. Sounds like this is very popular. We should definitely try to put something together. Alright, we'll get on it. Alright, let's do the list one last time here for a 73 round, and then we'll close out the net as it's getting a little bit late here and kind of ready to be done for the net. Not that I don't like talking to you guys, but getting a little tired after two nets. Alright, let's go back up to the top. KD2RBR, go ahead, Nick. Any further comments or questions on the 73 round? Go ahead, K2JLV. Alright, we'll go ahead and mark Nick out. Next on the list, W2NDG. Go ahead there, Neil.
Yeah, a fun topic for sure. And as time goes on, we'll grab even some of the war stories for you. What Steve was talking about with the Raspberry Pis and the dongles was a project that the developers called Project Green Sky. The server's still up. I don't know if it's being actively maintained at the moment, but I do have one of the receivers in my office in Manhattan, which used to be very handy when we had interference coming from Long Island City, right across the river. So it's neat, it's fun. If we can get a whole bunch of people up here who want to do it, it can definitely be a lot of fun. And then the really fun part is after you're done and somebody wins and everybody comes in, you all go to a diner and get food and have a good time. W2NDG, back to net.
Alright, very cool. Be interesting to see what that server looked like, so maybe at some point we can talk about that. And hopefully someday we'll actually be able to go out to diners and have a meal together. A lot of good conversations go on there. Next on the list, KD2QAK. Go ahead, Bob, from K2JLV Net Control.
KD2QAK. What's a diner?
I don't know. I haven't seen an open one in quite some time. Anything else you'd like to go with there, Bob?
Yes, I'm going to say 73. Good net tonight, and I'm turning to a pumpkin here, so 73 all around the net. KD2QAK will be clear on the side.
Alright, Bob. Very good. Next on the list, KD2MQE. Go ahead, David, from K2JLV Net Control.
Thanks, Steve. MQE, nothing to add. Good net day. Thanks, everybody. 73, have a good night. I'm on the side. KD2MQE.
Alright, very good. This is K2JLV Net Control for the OMARC Thursday night net. Next on the list we have Don, KD2QQV. Go ahead, sir.
All I want to say is you did an excellent job. You did an excellent job on the net, and I learned a lot. The third harmonics, yeah, very good. So it was a very good net, and that's what I got to say tonight. KD2QQB 73.
Don. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Yeah, it's the people that show up that make the nets good. It's not anything I do. Anyways, next on the list is Jim. Go ahead from K2JLV Net Control. K2 BHM.
Okay. Glad to be updated. My experience is from 4 years ago, and there's a lot happening since then, and we need to keep up with the times. Basically, we're off now and do some research.
Absolutely, Jim. I think I'll be doing a bunch myself. Very good. Thank you for being here tonight, Jim. 7-3 from me. KD2IIN, you're next there from K2JLV Net Control.
Right. Well, with an excellent net. Thanks, Dave, for being an excellent net facilitator, and thank you to everyone who brought all your little pieces of information to the net. This is excellent, and appreciate it all. 7-3, everyone. Have a great evening. KD2IIN, back to net.
All right, CJ, thank you very much. Next on the list, KD2RYD. Go ahead, Kate, from K2JLV Net Control.
Hi, this is Kate. Yeah, thanks. This has been great. It's been fun. As I sit here, try to sort out this code block for my radio, which is making my head nearly explode. Thank you, everyone. I'll say 7-3. Back to net.
Alrighty, Kate. If you need any help, just let me know. I might be able to help you out, and if nothing else, somebody else will. W2RWS, you're next on the list. Go ahead, Rob, from K2JLV Net Control.
Thank you, Dave. Two things. Maybe another subject for another time. APRS. Be interesting if we had that capability, and you and everybody else can look at an internet map and see exactly where we're at, which I thought was an interesting thought. Question: which is the beacon repeater? What frequency? I see there are several of them that may have another net. I'm just curious. Do you know what which one it is?
Rob, I would guess that's the 14697 machine, or 970. 146, it should be a negative shift. I don't know if they have a PL or not, but I'd probably guess around 100. Usually that's where it is. But they probably have information on their website.
Thank you. It is 100 for the tone. I'll experiment with that. I'm not quite sure if I can hit it from here, but it's my next experiment. Thanks, and 73. Great conversation.
All right, Rob, thanks for being here. All right, KD2MBF. Go ahead, Greg, from K2JLV Net Control.
I don't really have anything to add. Just say 7-3 to everybody, and catch you on one of the wellness nets. Looking forward to fox hunting very much. Thanks, Dave. Nice work. Good night, all. 7-3, KD2MBF.
All right, thank you, Greg, for being here. Next on the list is KD2SQO. I'm sorry, Brian, if I messed up there. I may have meant to ask Steve to stay after the net. I don't know who I asked it to at this point. So it's KC2JQA I want to speak to after the net. But you're up there, KD2SQO. Go ahead.
All right, I think you were right. There was no mistake, I don't think. And just 73 to everybody. Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for dropping in. Appreciate it. And of course, we're here every week. Last on the list, KC2JQA. Go ahead, Steve, for the last round.
KC2JQA, thank you for the net. Sorry I missed the bulk of it, and I will be standing by on the side, Dave, if you want to catch up afterwards. KC2JQA, back to net.
All right, very good, Steve. Thank you very much for being here. All right, I'm going to do announcements, which I don't actually have any right now because there's no upcoming OMARC meetings or events or VE sessions at this point. So I'm going to drop the signal here and then do the nets spiel and then the closing. All right, so stand by. actually 4 nets now that appear on this frequency. Every morning, which is not really a net, Paul, AC2UQ, is facilitating what he's calling the 835 on the 805, which is just a nice, friendly conversation, which he helps keep rolling along in a direction that is not confusing. Every morning at 8:35, we get together and just have a nice little discussion among hams. It's really actually quite nice. A lot more low-key than any of our nets. And then additionally, right now during the COVID-19 situation, we are running the Mid-Hudson Wellness Check-In Net, which is a net for reporting issues and situations with supplying, from a I don't have this scripted, so it's throwing me off. The supplies available in grocery stores, things like that, traffic issues, things of the nature, at least with this situation. That appears every night at 6:30. Basically check in, give your report. We have a little bit of conversation afterwards, and that happens every day. In addition, our 2 regular nets, each Sunday at 9 p.m. CJ hosts the Sunday night All Things Natural Net at 9 p.m. It is an excellent discussion of organic farming and gardening, natural health topics, and basically whatever else comes up. Excellent conversations. Definitely check it out. And this net, the OMARC Thursday Night Net, takes place each Thursday at 8 p.m. This net is a time when hams can get together and talk about a wide range of topics. Starter topic may be suggested by the net control, like we did tonight. So definitely check us out every week on Thursday. And at this time, the OMARC Thursday Night Net returns this frequency to regular amateur use. This has been a session of the OMARC Thursday Night Net, which is sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club. Please visit our website at whiskey.Oscar Mike Alpha Romeo Charlie Charlie Lima Uniform Bravo.Oscar Romeo Golf, which is www.omarcclub.org. Thank you to all who participated. This is K2JLV 673, and inviting you to join us again next week. This net is now closed.